Welcome back to A2Heroes, home of good comics, good stories, and good movies. Today, we'll be taking a look at SuperGirl, a bad movie. We're going to do another deep dive into the entire production run and history of SuperGirl, its debacle, its failure, its tragedy, and its embarrassment. Today, I have about 10 articles loaded up, all talking about SuperGirl, giving their thoughts on it, and their critical reception and commercial reception takes. And I'm going to give you my opinion on all of those. So let's jump right into it. Frank Landemore. Warner Bros. Quietly deletes behind the scene video that seems to show use of AI slop during SuperGirl production. SuperGirl just can't flop in peace. Yeah, tell me about it. The 2026 film is one of the biggest box office failures of the year and is the DC franchise's lowest grossing film since Catwoman. Oh, that's a shame. I love Catwoman. Catwoman was one of my favorite movies growing up, and I remember watching that as a little kid in Nigeria. That's really cool. I like Catwoman. It's a shame to hear that it was like their lowest grossing film until Supergirl. I'm going to do another video talking about Catwoman, going over the scenes, why I like it, what I love, and what I think A2Heroes should adopt from that, because that's a really good superhero. They could have done really well with her. And now it's the subject of yet another controversy, the apparent use of AI slop during its production. A behind-the-scenes video released by Warner Bros. Shows director Craig Gillespie and actor Jason Momoa looking at concept art for the character Lobo on a laptop. And even viewed from a distance, the design screams AI generated. There were other clues, like how quickly they customized the character on the fly, and the windows showing around a dozen other iterations of the image. Ooh, that's bad. That's really, really bad. There was no way of confirming beyond a shadow of a doubt that it was slop, though, come on. But Warner Bros. Blundered into a textbook case of the Streisand effect by immediately taking down the image or the video once large media accounts like Discussing Film and Culture Crave began sharing clips of it. That's bad. That's bad. They were very reactionary there. Very low thinking, no critical thought, just completely thoughtless action. You never immediately run when a wild animal is chasing you. You never do that. And everyone knows this since elementary school, apparently except Warner Bros. When you get critical flack online, you never directly rush to cover it, because that's the number one way of getting more attention on what you're trying to cover. Not everyone's talking about it. Now people are writing articles about it. So there you go. If you just kept it there, it'd have been just one or two posts from a couple big name like bloggers that would do the rounds and then immediately bounce. But because you moved to cover it, now we're talking about you and what you did. So, shame. So, he said that by then it was too late. The DCU fan base went into meltdown and loads of other film goers trashed the franchise for stooping so low. The large film accounts could now get even more attention for saying the video was removed. Yeah, exactly. To some, it reeked of hypocrisy. Yeah. By the way, DCU fans are always in meltdown. DCU fans are always in meltdown. They're God King and Savior Detective Comics universe, or whatever they want to call it, has been failing for the last 10 years. Even the last 20 years, if you want to go all the way back to Catwoman, like they said. They've just been stumbling and bumbling into failure upon failure upon failure consistently for like 10 years straight now. They can't make $1 billion. They can't make money to save their lives. Like, they're pathetic. I really don't like them. They're out here losing more money than most of us will ever make in our lifetimes, and they're calling it art. Don't listen to them. Trash. One viral post quoted, "Love how companies are trying to occupy the superposition of AI is so cool and widely accepted. It's the new norm. Get used to it." And, "Oh fuck, they caught us using AI. Hide it to make sure no one knows, and nobody must be allowed to see our shame." Literally. Companies can't stick to one script. They can't stick to one thing where they just say we either love and accept AI or we hate and despise AI. But they want to hate and despise AI and also hate and despise you. That's literally their MO. Whatever makes them the most bucks. Except in SuperGirl's case, they just lose millions. They make no bucks. More somberly, another wrote on the DC Cinematic subreddit, got a feel for all the artists watching their career fields diminish and dreams shatter right before their very eyes. Yeah, that's sad. I love art. I love artists. I love people who dedicate their life to making beautiful things for us. I can't draw to save my life, so just watching people draw and animate and tell stories and create beautiful things is a joy that I benefit from. So it hurts me to see bad artists get good jobs. Okay. Not that there's ever a good time to eschew actual art in favor of AI slop, thank you. But the use of AI here feels particularly egregious, since there's surely no shortage of existing art of a character to go off. Many noted this irony. Yeah. Sure, guys, let's use AI to conceptualize what Lobo would look like, even though he's a comic book character that's existed for 50 fucking years. One user fumed. Exactly. Always using AI in the most superfluous and unnecessary ways. No skilled use of AI. I agree with AI. I don't disagree with AI, but I disagree with the way AI is being used. If you take the A2Heroes approach and only use it for tangential or auxiliary stuff, then that's okay. And especially if you're a small company, then that's fine. That's acceptable. But if you're a mega corporation, you're one of the biggest publishing houses in the world, you regularly fund movies to the tune of 50 million, 100 million, 150 million, and you're using AI and produce a dud like Supergirl, then what the fuck was all that AI for? What the fuck was all that artificial intelligence for? Because apparently it's clear that you have none. You have no actual natural intelligence of your own, so you're dependent on artificial intelligence. That's the type of AI use I disagree with. All right? If you're using AI to explain situations to you, explain concepts to you, hold a simulated conversation where you can build a rapport and go back and forth, I agree. That's okay. That's good. But if you're using AI to do actual high grade, top of the line art, that's bad. There's no other word for that. That's just bad. That's not art. That's not art. He says, as far as we can tell, there's no clear indication that generative AI was used in the final product. And how could you be able to tell anyway, given that superhero movies have always been pure slop for years now, but the use of the tech anywhere in the filmmaking process has become an extremely touchy subject. Yeah, as it should be. It is an extremely touchy subject because you're producing bad films. You're producing bad, terrible, atrocious, egregious films. And so we're going to be mad when you start integrating AI, which is bad, terrible, and atrocious, into our movies and our films. That's silly. And the author even admitted my point too. He says, as far as we can tell, there's no clear indication that generative AI was used in the final product. And how would you be able to tell anyway, given that superhero movies have been pure slop for years now? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Frank Landon Moore. That's exactly right. Superhero films have been slop, absolute slop. No other word for it. They've been trash for years and years and years now. So the fact that they stoop to trash isn't going to surprise or shock anyone. So yeah, Jesus. One of the biggest strikes in Hollywood history, a double strike between actors and writers in 2023, was partly over protections against AI. Nice. While many filmmakers and audiences are staunchly opposed to the tech, some of the old guard are beginning to roll over to its advance. Revered director Martin Scorsese shocked the film world, for instance, when he endorsed a startup behind an AI image generational tool for storyboarding, saying how he now uses it to plan his own films. Okay, that's pretty cool. That's Martin Scorsese for you there. I don't feel any strong particular way about that. He put his money where his mouth is, first of all. That's number one. So he's not talking out of his ass. And number two, he says he uses it for storyboarding. That's tangential and auxiliary in a sense to me as well. Even though it's a critical part of the planning and the processing, it's not exactly shown in the final product. It's still for the planning and configuration. It's in the planning step, not in the execution step. So I don't mind that too much. I really like that. That was a good article by Frank Landon Moore. Let's go on to the next article here. SuperGirl Lobo featurette gets pulled. This is by Garth Franklin. Oh, this is embarrassing. Lobo is such a good character, but they pulled him. The Supergirl film came and went with just a $125 million worldwide haul and mixed reviews, and now has unexpectedly found itself back in the spotlight. Yeesh. All the bad reasons. Earlier today, the studio released a new featurette showing director Craig G, and Jason Momoa discussing Lobo designs. Those designs appear to have been generated using AI. It's an odd move considering the character has been in comics for 5 decades with plenty of established artwork, and has led to questions online as to whether AI was used to develop the character and potentially used across the film. Yes, the answer to that is yes. Of course it was used across the film. If you already caught them using it here on film with Lobo, a character who has 50 plus years of art to draw on, then they had to definitely use it for other characters who didn't have that much, for other scenes who didn't have that much. Of course. The article goes on. They say, things really took off though when the video was taken down and the clip spread everywhere, sparking more discussions about the film's visual style, which was a major sticking point during the film's release. Exactly. Their visual style was one of the things that condemned them to failure when they were initially released, because it just wasn't good. It wasn't crisp, it wasn't sharp, it wasn't nice. It was slop. DCU Studios chief James Gunn has previously not been a fan of generative AI use, saying, quote, "I've always given my VFX artist collaborators time to do their jobs properly and the respect they deserve," end quote. Thank you, James Gunn. It's probably one of the only things you ever said that I agree with you on, but thank you. That's the right way to do it. Always give your VFX artists and collaborators time to do their jobs properly and the respect they deserve. That's hard work. But if you do your VFX and your CGI right, and you make it good and you take your time, then you make your work timeless. Go back and check Pirates of the Caribbean. You can still watch that and it holds up. Go back and check Transformers. You can still watch that and it holds up because they gave them time. But all these movies and games and projects released by Amazon and Netflix and Warner Bros., they don't give them time. They sink hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars into it, thousands and thousands of man hours, but then they just completely overlook the VFX and the CGI aspect. VFX is art. CGI is art. I didn't used to think that about CGI before, but CGI is art. When you watch Transformers, you see that CGI really is art. When you watch Inception, you see that CGI really is art. When you watch Doctor Strange, you see that CGI really is art. It's incredible. So you have to give artists the time they deserve. You really do. SuperGirl is now available digitally and arriving on 4K Blu-ray on September 8th. Oh, how sad. How fucking sad. Just an entire debacle, an entire shame. One commenter here, Hoser of the North, said, viral marketing, all press is good press? Of course not. If it was good press, they wouldn't have shut it down. Another commenter in Nepal said, Lancers and Clayface had better hit big because even with a quote better than expected but still bland Superman film under his belt, Gunn hasn't exactly set the world on fire yet. Thank you, Nepal. Exactly. Superman was better than expected but still bland. Still fucking bland. Just atrocious, ugly, and campy. I don't know why he took that directional take on Superman. Oh, I know why. Because he's not a good writer. He's not even a comic book fan. If you do Superman and you want to take a brand new take on him, then be completely revolutionary and go off the beaten path. Don't go back to the trite, repetitive, tried and true things. No. I've said this before. If I'm going to do Superman and do a brand new thing, I have carte blanche to do as many different things as I want, then I would literally honor the spirit of the source material as much as possible while making deviations that fix problems down the line. That's what I'll do. Superman has existed for over 100 years now. So he's not an old character anymore, or he's not a new character anymore. He's existed for over 100 years. I think if you do Superman, you should make the beginning, middle, and end follow this structure. At the beginning, his planet is destroyed, and he and a couple others are sent off of Krypton in little pods. They all flow through space, ending up at different planets and galaxies and stuff. Kara Zor-El is in one, Kal is in another Kryptonian somewhere is in another. I say don't make him the last remaining Kryptonian, even though that's a very dramatic plot device to use, the last. And he's not even the last. We have Kara Zor-El, but he's the last for us. He's the only one that comes to Earth. He's the last. I say, instead of crash landing on land at Ma and Pa Kent's house, I say he crash lands in the water, in the ocean, just like space shuttles do when they come back from missions. He crash lands in the water because the water is the largest available body on Earth when you're coming in from hundreds of thousands of light years away, millions and millions of light years away, even billions and billions of light years away. And you reach Earth, you're going to see mostly water. 70% of Earth's surface is covered in water. Only the other 30% is covered by land. So he lands in the water, and his capsule sinks deep, deep into the ocean. He goes really, really deep, far down into like the nooks and crannies and the crevices and like the oceanic mountains, like the deep regions of the ocean where Aquaman lives, where Aquaman and Atlanteans live. And back then, Aquaman himself is still a baby or a child. It's actually Aquaman's father that intercepts the shuttle, that intercepts the capsule. It'll be his royal guards or something reporting to him in his chambers that a foreign object has been detected entering our territory. Maybe it's the Amazonians, maybe it's the Martians, maybe it's the Galaxians, whoever. You're like, no, we don't know what this one is. This is an unfamiliar signature. And so the king has to get out of bed, rise out, and go and investigate it himself, grab his trident or something, and hop off. And so when he hops off and goes there, he brings young Aquaman with him, young Aquaman and his brothers with him. Very young. This is a crazy idea, but he could bring them if they're relatively young. He could bring Aquaman's older brother, one of those. And upon reaching the site, he investigates the capsule. He sees a group of soldiers, a group of guards just like around it, securing the perimeter, ensuring everything is all right. And he gets there and asks them what's going on. They're like, sir, we've tried to open it, but it doesn't seem to be opening. This thing's like sealed tight, like sealed very tightly. So tight, like it has to travel through space, right? For millions and millions of light years, powered by some Kryptonian magic, right? Some Kryptonian science. That's why it's so shut tight. And when the king steps closer to take a look at it, the glass or the fog clears. His guards had told him, like, sir, we're not sure what it is, but we think there's something inside. But the glass is all misted up. The fog clears when the king comes by to look at it. And beneath it, as the fog clears, he sees a baby's face. Sees a baby's face. He's like, whoa, what is this? He sees like a little baby nursing and nubbing. And if he plugged up to life tools or sunlight in there to keep him alive, to keep him nourished, right, through the space trip. That'd be really cool. And then he tells his guards, like, yo, we have to leave this. We can't open it because if we try to open it, this little baby might get flooded with all this water around us. We don't know if he's an Atlantean like us. We don't know if he can withstand the pressure and darkness of like the deep sea, but we can. Like, we down here, we know we can, but he might not be able to. So he orders all his guards to back off and stop trying to pry open the capsule. And instead, either the capsule rises out 30 days later on the ocean and floats and sails towards land as the Atlanteans like follow it, or he himself takes it towards land as he realizes like that's the only way it's going to open. The water is preventing it from opening, and in a way he hands it off to Ma and Pa Kent. And so he gracefully hands it off without them seeing him, not knowing, but putting it where they would find him when maybe they're out by the creek or by a beach or by a river or something, like, and it sails across and sails in. And Ma Kent is like, look, honey, look, I found a little baby. A little child. Like, I've always wanted a baby. We've always wanted a baby. And now a baby rolls in. And so she like takes care of it. And like Pacan's like, oh wow, this is incredible, and he's really happy too. He takes care of it, and that's how Superman then gets there. What this does for the story is that it introduces Aquaman a lot earlier into the narrative. It introduces the Atlanteans a lot earlier into the narrative. It fixes the initial problem of Superman having been developed independently and alone during his origin, but it still keeps to the cinematic universe that we have now, where superheroes like step into each other's worlds. And so what this allows is that when Superman grows up with Ma and Pa Kent, and he's just growing and developing and becoming a, you know, a teenager, a young adult, and things like that, and slowly discovering that he has powers and abilities that aren't quite the same, he actually meets Aquaman one day. He actually meets Aquaman when he goes to the beach for a swim. Aquaman actually kind of keeps eyes on him. I would love this if Aquaman is kind of like an older brother, more competent brother to Superman. And it's not until like they run into each other one day at like the beach or the ocean, like maybe they're on field trips from different schools, for example. That would be incredible if Aquaman has a double life too, as like a British schoolboy or something. And they meet in passing, not knowing the true worth of each other's strength and not truly testing each other's mettle, but sensing something beneath the surface. And that connects them. And from that point, they become frenemies. They become like rivals. Like, it'd be so cool. And in my opinion, Aquaman should be stronger than Superman at the beginning, with Superman having something to aspire against, to go up against, to challenge him in order to develop his strength. So that then gives us a reason why Superman is like, you know, so strong, how he develops his strength and how he gets to that level, because he never had anyone to battle against here on Earth. We can't say it was human beings that helped him get that strong. It wasn't. So how did he develop his strength? Not just the natural Kryptonian strength, but his advanced superhuman, superheroic strength. Not all Kryptonians are as strong as Superman. He's just like the best amongst them, or like the first amongst them. So like those are really cool ideas that you could use to immediately redefine Superman, but still keep his spiritual origins the same. You don't make his parents evil like James Gunn did, who sent him to Earth to come and torture and rule the humans like a tyrant. That's horrific. That's so ugly. That's so bad. I don't like that. I don't like that. That's not the way to do Superman properly. You mix Superman with Aquaman, you make them brothers, because Superman came to Earth and Aquaman is already on Earth. So even though we as comic book readers, we really resonate more with Superman, he's a lot more popular. He's like the godfather of comic books. In a way, Aquaman is actually our defender. Aquaman is from Earth. Aquaman is from the ocean, where all life started. The Atlanteans could have a spiritual connection to humanity and say that we're what you came from. We're you, but from the ocean, so to say. And we've been here for much longer, for sure. So like that could be cool. And that could make it so that there's some friction between Aquaman and Superman, between who's the true warden of the Earth, who's the true defender of Earth, the one who came from outer space to deliver us, or the one who's been with us, pushing us. And I like that. I would like if on land, Aquaman and Superman are equally matched, equally. Superman is not stronger than Aquaman. Aquaman is not stronger than Superman on land and air. In the sea, Aquaman is stronger than Superman. They're not evenly matched. Aquaman can go at Superman over and over again, and Superman can put up a bit of a fight. He can do his thing here and there, but he can never truly defeat Aquaman in the sea. No. But then in outer space, in the high altitude, high atmosphere in outer space, there Superman is stronger than Aquaman. That's where they both then like completely separate, and Superman shows his true mettle, his true strength, his true like super Goku ability. I have so much more about Superman and Aquaman. I'll talk more about that later, but I just want to keep on going with these articles. These are incredible. This is exactly what we want. All right, this is phenomenal. Another commenter here, after Nepal said, yeah, Lanterns and Clayface had better hit big, because even with the better than expected but still bland Superman film under his belt, Gunn hasn't exactly set the world on fire yet. Yeah, no, he hasn't, Nepal. No, he hasn't. Absolutely not. He set nothing on fire but his career and his future prospects. So I don't feel bad for that, man. Papa Grand replied saying, "Yeah, I couldn't be bothered with Peacemaker or Creature Commandos. Given the lack of attachment to the DCEU Flash after that dreadful movie, I'm surprised that Gunn hasn't and Co haven't leapt to reboot him in a more comic-centric universe rather than fixating on lesser knowns like Booster Gold, etc. That is actually use his city, supporting cast and rogues gallery and keep Batman, member berries, and the memberverse and his mommy trauma the fuck out of it." Yeah. There are a lot of actors I would look to do either Wally or Barry. That is either Dylan O'Brien or Barry for the current Percy Jackson for Wally, etc. That's a nice comment by Papa Grand. That's very true. Like, I myself couldn't be bothered with Peacemaker or Creature Commandos either. That just sounds so silly to me. It's not even a prospect. I understand movies like that are accurate to comics and fans love them, and there's something that honor the original, but unfortunately, in my opinion, I think they're out of their time. I think like Creature Commandos is so campy. I don't know how else to say it. There's no other way to really put it. Maybe I'm wrong. I'd like to have my mind changed on that. But Peacemaker as well. Peacemaker is okay, but it's the wrong tone for a billion-dollar franchise, for a multi-billion-dollar franchise even. Like, you have to establish yourself as a grand narrative, as a cinematic realm before you can then cut off a little corner to do comedy and hijinks. You still haven't made 10 $1 billion movies in a row yet. You still haven't made 20 $2 billion movies in a row yet. Spider-Man is already past the $1 billion mark and is quickly approaching the $2 billion mark. Within a month of coming out. There's 12 months in a year and 10 years have passed and you've barely done it. That's 120 months. That's 120 months you could have used to ensure your success. But you didn't. Okay, there's a reason for that. But let's keep reading Papa Grant's comment. He says, given the lack of attachment to the DCEU Flash after that dreadful movie, I'm surprised Gunn and Co haven't leapt to reboot him in a more comic-centered movie, rather than fixating on lesser knowns like Booster Gold, etc. That's a good point. Usually their bad instincts and poor writing should lead them to the most easy, derivative, obvious, reductive topic, like reboot and Flash. I'm glad they haven't, ironically. I'm glad they haven't, but my more complicated opinion on that topic is that I myself don't like Flash as a superhero. I don't like Flash as a superpower. I used to like it when I was younger, but I think it's a little too campy and a little too lamish now. Like, his legs move super fast. Like, come on. He should have a bit more than that. There should be a bit more dynamic ability than that. And it's also, number two, something that is very hard to write for because it's innately overpowered. Like, I think the fact that Flash doesn't immediately win every single one of his fights off of the bat by blitzing around the person at Mach 1 just breaks my mind. I don't know why he doesn't do that. There should be no challenge or object against the Flash. In fact, when that god-awful DC movie or DC video game came out, Kill the Suicide Squad or something like that, they had an evil version of Flash. They have an evil Flash there in one of the trailers. And they were showing him go up against henchmen and bad guys, and really, in this case, good guys, actually, and like soldiers, professional SWAT, and things like that. And he was mopping the floor with them. He would make short work of any country's military or security. He would blitz in and out of protected government facilities, into fenced-off areas, around the guards, up and down, play with their grenades. He could go into a room, unclip all the grenades, and go out before anyone even know what happened. It's silly. Like, he's too powerful, unfortunately. And no matter what you do, you're always going to be battling with your character instead of battling with your story. That's the Superman problem too, which is why I revolutionized it by introducing Aquaman often and early and giving him an edge to fight against. And that's also the good thing about introducing Aquaman. It also resuscitates and resurrects Aquaman's reputation. It resurrects his reputation by immediately attaching him to greatness such as Superman and showing that he's pound per pound a competitor to Superman, to the Man of Steel. Then we immediately raise his reputation for the last like 20 generations, because people just mop the floor with Aquaman. People just mock him. He's the king of Atlantis, for goodness sake. He is a stronger Superman. He can fly. He can fly. Like, he's good. He's in no way a lame shrimp like comics and fans would have you believe. So having Aquaman fight with Superman early and be boys and da and be rivals and actually wrestle up would teach Superman how to fight, and would also like improve Aquaman's reputation. So yeah, really good comment by Papa Grand there. Shake Your Mask says Peacemaker season 1 is definitely worth watching. I wasn't impressed with season 2 though. I haven't seen Creature Commandos yet, but I know it got good reviews. Okay, I'll have to check Creature Commandos out then. I'll keep going on with this later. Let's jump into the next article. This one is from Word of Real. SuperGirl AI backlash grows after Warner Bros. Removes viral video. Exactly. This is by Jordan Ruimi. That's so funny. I love that. Under this caption picture, the caption reads, "There was no reason to further take digs at Supergirl, which sits at 52% on Rotten Tomatoes and had a paltry $125 million worldwide haul, the lowest grossing DC film since Catwoman in 2004. However, now it's back in the spotlight yet again after being dunked on, and Warner Bros. Could have easily prevented this. Honestly, so embarrassing. So embarrassing." The latest gut punch against this movie centers on an officially released Warner Bros. Featurette showing director Craig G. and Jason Momoa discussing Lobo designs that appear to have been generated using AI. This has led many to question why AI was used to develop the character with 5 decades of established comic book artwork. 5 decades. It's also leading people to theorize about whether AI was used more broadly on the film. It was. Warner Bros. Has not released a statement on the matter and instead took the video down, but that's not before the clip went viral this afternoon. It's everywhere now. Guys, let me know if you want to see that clip. I'll put it up here too as well. The controversy is now fueling broader criticism of the film's visual style and the role AI might have secretly played in DC's creative process as a whole. So, just to recap, not only was Supergirl visually bland, with a weak screenplay and direction, but it now has to face conspiracy theories that it sucked because of AI. Oh no, that's not why it sucked. Like, the fact that they used AI so prominently in it was a symptom of the problem. It wasn't the problem. You use AI, in other words, artificial intelligence, if you yourself, your talent or your staff, have no actual intelligence. And the AI did the heavy lifting for them in the creation, direction, scripting, videography, cinematography, and all the arts of the video, all the trades and arts required for the video, instead of them, which is why it did so bad. That's why it did so bad. People have been writing bad stories before AI, and they'll be writing bad stories afterwards too. But masterpieces will always be made by human hands. Always. Always. The article continues. A year ago, DCU Studios chief James Gunn responded to an AI-generated Superman trailer with 3 vomiting emojis and emphasized the importance of giving human VFX artists the time and respect to do their work properly. Yeah. He quoted, "I've always given my VFX artists and collaborators time to do their jobs properly and the respect they deserve." End quote. James Gunn said, underscoring his preference for a human-led creative process. What does he think about his own studio using it? Yeah, that's a very good point. I agree with James Gunn once again. I underscore my preference for a human-led creative process right here and right now. So much. It's vital that human beings are doing the generation and the direction of the creative process. AI is a tool. It's a butler. It's a droid from Star Wars. It's an astro droid. It's one of those things that assists and helps you in the course of completing your mission, but it's not actually being handed the weapon and given the mission to complete itself. No, like that's not how that goes. Like we have to let Anakin or Luke Skywalker or Han Solo handle the mission. They can handle the weapons. We don't give that to CP3O or R2D2. That's what AI is. That's what AI is. CP3O and R2D2. Beep beep boop boop. That's all it is. The article continues. This comes a few months after that whole Martin Scorsese controversy, which had the filmmaker endorsing AI for storyboarding. This is only further evidence that, despite severe online backlash, AI is becoming more of a norm in Hollywood, and the industry is going to continue using it in secret until it becomes less taboo. Yeah, absolutely. They're already doing it in secret. They're using AI in secret and fucking up in public. I don't respect that dynamic. Just be all out with it. And you don't have to keep it a secret. We know you use AI. You've literally fired your artists and your art actors, and you tried to modify their voices or record their voices to own it for life so you could use their likeness and image. It's not a secret. There were massive strikes in 2023 talking about your secret. We know you want to get rid of humans and make money for only the robots, only the cold and heartless. Like, we know that's why your art is so bad, because it's only for people who are cold and heartless. You're bad. You're bad. There's no two ways about that. So no secret there, just taboos. No secrets there, just shame. But it's Hollywood, so what do you expect? The article continues. It seems that though every week another director, another actor, or another studio comes out of the woodwork in favor of AI. More recently, A24 positioned itself in favor of the technology. Last week, it was George Lucas, and this week, it was Brad Pitt. Who's next? Good for them. Let them stand in favor of it. Let them stand in favor of it. I don't respect that position at all. Of course, you're going to say I'm in favor of it. And George Lucas, what's George Lucas doing there? We're going to talk about this guy one day. We're going to talk about this guy on this channel one day. He could have been the king. He could have been it, but he chose not to. He chose not to. He chose to abscond. He chose to go groveling back to the industry which rejected him when he made his own masterpiece. We're gonna break down George Lucas one day. Brad Pitt. Okay, good for him. I like Achilles. I like Ocean's 11. Celebrities aren't gods. They can say whatever they want. They can do whatever they want. They can be whoever they want. They don't register with me at all. I know they register with lots of people. I have to respect that, but let's be very fucking frank here. Celebrities do not register with me at all. Them doing something in no way, like, communicates to me that I should do it myself. Lame. All right, let's check out some comments here. We have Muscle McGurk, who says, I wonder why the AI apologists are frequently the same people complaining about how everything sucks now. Jim Morrison, I'm dead, replies, what I can't wrap my head around is that people that lean more towards the anti-AI side, myself for example, can still acknowledge that it does have benefits, even though I feel the negatives outweigh the positives. Thank you. I'm the same way. I can acknowledge that it has benefits. I just feel like the negatives, or the way they use it, outweighs the positives the way it ought to be used. But AI apologists never seem to acknowledge the detriments. It's always, suck it up, losers. AI is here to stay, so just go kill yourself. Literally, these people are so soulless. So I'm asking any of you who fervently defend AI, what exactly would be catastrophic about waking up tomorrow and discovering that the technology magically ceased to exist? Yeah, well said. Wow. Akamingui replies, your question is an nonsensical question. The reality is that you and most people are attacking something that doesn't exist. I'm in a world where AI literally does not exist. It has not been invented yet. So the question you're asking is impossible to answer. Oh, brother, not one of these. The proper question would be, what if I woke up tomorrow and AI magically existed? If you swap the word AI for what the technology actually is, a large language model that performs probabilistic pattern matching, then the confusion will go away. AI is a machine that can think and reason on its own, but no LLM can actually do that. And there is a good reason to believe that no LLM ever will. Now, from here, I had written long-winded explanation of why AI does not exist, but you're not going to read it. Read it though. I'll leave you with 2 videos that walk through the reality of what LLM can do and say this. Okay, I like this guy. The main problem that you and everyone who hates AI has is that you are very well aware that when you type 2 times 2 into a calculator, that the calculator will produce the answer 4 every time without fail, and still you do not expect your calculator to understand what 4 is. You are fully cognizant of the fact that it's a machine that lacks awareness, comprehension, and purpose. That's true. You're under the mistaken belief that a LLM is different, that it understands what 4 is, when it demonstrably does not. LLMs have the exact same level of awareness, comprehension, and purpose as a calculator. Yeah, that's true. The way I like to put people in your camp is the people afraid of calculators, which are not as bad as the people who believe their calculator is their new god. So you at least have that going for you. Love it. Internet slander. I have a question in turn. Do you believe this technology will go away and just vanish? But more importantly, do you actually understand the technology? Wow, he cooked. He cooked. Akamingwe just came in and cooked. I stand with Jim Morrison here. That's my guy. That's where I am too. AI apologists are so bold-headed and dumb that they just say, suck it up, losers. AI is here to stay. Just go and kill yourself. So, but us like AI skeptics are like, okay, what is it good for? Why should I stop doing my job? Why did you fire half of your company? Because someone invented some fancy new widget? That's what you staked your entire corporate future on? And it shows how much you value humans too. The fact that you're just willing to get rid of hundreds and thousands of them at once without even checking the value of your new thing. Now you have to hire them back. So even though Aka Ming went off, Jim Morrison did not deserve that. Guys, let's move on to the next article. This one is IMDb. SuperGirl comes under fire for AI usage with Jason Momoa's Lobo design during pre-production. Sheesh. Oh no, that's incriminating. That is so incriminating. Look at that, guys. Look at that. They're completely fucked. That looks like AI. That looks like pure AI art. There's no two ways about it. Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. The article says, SuperGirl was an unmitigated disaster for DC Studios. While the movie has its fair share of fans, it was a critical failure. 52% on Rotten Tomatoes, and one of the biggest superhero movie box office flops ever. Earlier this month, SuperGirl ended its time in theaters with a dismal $125.8 million, making it the lowest grossing DC movie since 2004's Catwoman. Wow. Now, the movie is being criticized on social media after an officially released featurette revealed that AI was used while establishing what Jason Momoa would look like as Lobo. Wow. The video, which was pulled from YouTube by Warner Bros. Discovery mere moments ago as we write this, shows SuperGirl director Craig G. Oh no. See the full article on comicbook.com. Oh no. Oh Lord, this is incredible. The video, which was pulled from YouTube by Warner Bros. Discovery mere moments ago as we write this, shows SuperGirl director Craig G discussing various Lobo designs with Momoa. All of them have been created with generative AI and were used to make key creative decisions. If this video is any indication, yeah, it's indicating, all right. It's indicating. Lobo has been appearing in comic books since 1983 when he was created by Roger Sliffer and Keith Giffen. He's appeared hundreds, if not thousands of times since then, but DC Studios or Gillespie at least decided that AI was a better way to bring the main man to life than comic book artwork or concept artists. Yeah, sheesh. The use of AI may explain why SuperGirl looks so drab, as one of the biggest complaints from fans was the lack of color, despite the movie being inspired by the visually stunning SuperGirl Woman of Tomorrow comic book. Yeah, Woman of Tomorrow was so visually striking and unique. Like, I really have to pull up pictures to show you guys, but that was a vibrant, life-loving comic spread. But the movie is just dull and drab. Of course, like its masters, Hollywood. Just disgusting and like, ugh. Using AI to design Lobo may have been purely down to Gillespie, or a wider problem in DC Studios that this featurette has exposed. It's a little baffling that Warner Bros. Discovery included an official material for SuperGirl And it will be interesting to see what, if anything, James Gunn and Peter Safran have to say about this. Oh, they're going to say something. They're going to say something all right. Supergirl is set to have a lead role in Man of Tomorrow, and there have already been some strong hints that another project is lined up for the Woman of Tomorrow. After that, James Gunn has alluded to her potentially co-starring in the Wonder Woman reboot. Okay, we got to stop and talk about that there. That's important too as well. If I was redoing DC Studios, if I had the chance to take it all from the beginning and full creative license and control, what my creative vision and direction would be. I've already told you what I'll do with Superman. I would modify his origins, but keep it the same in spirit. And I would introduce Aquaman a lot earlier and a lot more often to his story. I would give Aquaman a lot more relevance and significance, and it would give Superman another super powered mortal that he can brush up on. And Aquaman can show him around Earth. They can go swimming together with the dolphins. All right. But with Supergirl, with Wonder Woman, I would do the same thing. I would introduce Supergirl and Wonder Woman together in the same story or in the same narrative arc. I would have them interact and encounter with one another. All right. Encounter and interact with one another. And then I'll either have them grow and blossom from that, or I would have them depart and change from it. Like, I really think Supergirl is a great complement to Wonder Woman. I really believe that, because Wonder Woman is like Superman's age, so to say. And she's from Themyscira, right? So I would love if she was the more dominant partner in that relationship, in that co-op with Wonder Woman and Supergirl being friends, allies, and confidants of one another. I would like it. It would be interesting if after Superman's home, Krypton blows up and explodes, that when all the babies are sent away on pods throughout the skies, that Superman ends up on Earth, normal, ends up on Atlantis first, or Atlantis at the bottom of the ocean, wherever the Atlanteans live, Aquaman and his people. And Superman then goes to Earth after, but Kara Zor-El, Supergirl, ends up in Themyscira. She ends up with Hera and Wonder Woman and her sisters. I would love that, because that would fill in the story perfectly as to her origins, her ways, where she learned to fight, how she is. And it'd be interesting if Supergirl doesn't know who she is. She's raised from birth by them as a baby, and she learns their ways. They accept her because in a way they think she's a gift from the gods. Oh, that'd be so cool, because they're already from Greek and mythology and Zeus and Hera and all that stuff. They think she's some gift from the gods because there's this wonderful girl who's just crossed their paths and was delivered to them in some clearly like magical capsule, some high-tech fancy magical capsule. From whence did she come, to where does she go? That would be a beautiful narrative point where it would cause them, from the graciousness of their hearts, to adopt her into their life and raise her in the Amazonian ways. And so just as Superman learns the American ways, Kara Zor-El learns the Amazonian ways. She becomes someone who is literally like them, even though she's not from them. And I would like, just my personal request here, all right, if she grows up amongst them as an outsider, grows up amongst them as a rebel, grows up amongst them as a castaway, because then we have some dynamic stuff, then we have some drama, then we have things happening in the story. She grows up amongst them like Percy Jackson did in the Half-Blood Camp. Like, she's in a cabin all by herself or something. Like, the other girls her age don't fully accept and respect her. Like, they see that she also comes from like a higher powered stock of peoples. She's super strong, super fast, super durable, but she's not exactly their type, so to say. Maybe she doesn't speak their language, or she keeps looking towards the stars for home. Like they say, like home is right here. Like you've never known anything. Or they mock and bully her, like, oh, your family gave you away. They don't care about you. That's why you ended up here. They just say really cruel, gut wrenching shit that kids say. And so in this way, the story puts her on the outside of the circle, and her mission is to get back into it. Her mission is to search for another place where she can be. So that leads her away from the Amazonians with her mission is to search for home. She's looking to find home. Meanwhile, Superman himself feels at home. So when she finds Superman, when she meets up with Clark, when they cross paths, she feels at home finally. That's her cousin, that's her relative, that's another Krypton, someone like her. Right? When Superman finds her, he's like, wow. His whole world shatters or crumbles or breaks. Like, there's someone else out there like me. I thought I was like the only one. Like, what's going on? And then there's so much drama from that. Right? But that's the way to solve Supergirl as well. That's the way to solve Wonder Woman 2 as well. Because when you do this, you give Wonder Woman someone else to balance against, to counter off of her. And you make it a dynamic sisterly movie that is phenomenal, that lots of people ever would watch. It would make hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars, to the tune of billions of dollars. That would be such a phenomenal movie. I would watch myself. I would take my sisters to watch. I would take my friends to watch. Guys would go and watch that. Girls would go and watch that. Like, it'd be literally sisterhood, the movie, Wonder Woman and Supergirl. It sells itself. It sells itself. Like, guys, we gotta do better. But the article says, Supergirl is set to have a lead role in Man of Tomorrow, and there have already been some strong hints that another project is lined up for the Woman of Tomorrow after that. James Gunn has alluded to her potentially co-starring in the Wonder Woman reboot. Yeah, thank you. Millie Alcock received widespread acclaim for her performance as Kara Zor-El, so future DCU projects could help redeem the character in the eyes of filmgoers. They say here, bad writing, gratuitous cameos, and uninspired visuals take us back to the bad old days of the DCEU in Supergirl, a showcase for the super talented Millie Alcock, but kryptonite to anyone who likes good superhero movies, we wrote in one of our reviews. Boom, zinger. That was art. Hell yeah, I love a scathing critique. That was gorgeous. Bad writing, gratuitous cameos, and uninspired visuals take us back to the bad old days of the DCEU in Supergirl, a showcase for the super talented Millie Alcock, yes, but kryptonite to anyone who likes good superhero movies. Wow. Supergirl is now available on digital and arrives on 4K Blu-ray on September 8th. Very cool. We have a cheeky comment here from Jamie Black, link here from Twitter, saying, I think James Gunn and co. get a pass for using AI. I mean, it's not like a Supergirl production like this has any sort of access to professional comic book artists or anything, so I can see why they opted for dog shit AI slop instead. Exactly. Thank you. It's not like you have access to professional comic book artists or concept artists or a massive budget or 3D artists or VFX artists or CGI artists. Yeah, it's not like you have the entire weight of a Hollywood production house behind you. You're just a small little guy. Fuck off. Just super lame. Super lame. Let's go on to the next article here. This one is on Polygon by Austin Manchester. 2 more DC shows just got cancelled as James Gunn's DCU continues to struggle. Wow. Wow. This is horrific. The DC Universe's slate just got a little thinner. According to Wednesday report from the Ankler, 2 more DCU shows have been cancelled. The Suicide Squad spin-off, Waller, and the Themyscira set Paradise Lost are both dead. Okay, good on Waller. I didn't see Themyscira. I'd like to check that out. But either way, it's good news for both because they can't keep going like this. The article continues. This comes after news broke last month that a Booster Gold show was no longer moving forward. Wow, thank you. Another lame, campy, out of time, out of touch thing that DC is doing is Booster Gold. Like, what is going on there? Why are you doing that? Who told you to do that? Why did they? Why did they greenlight that and think that that was a good idea? It's not just retro. Retro means something from the past that we look on fondly. It's out of touch. It's out of touch. It's antiquated. It doesn't deserve a space on the silver screen or even on the television screen. It doesn't. The article continues. DC studio leadership James Gunn and Peter Safran revealed their slate of movies and TV series back in 2023. It included last year's Superman, originally titled Superman Legacy, June's Supergirl, originally called Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, and Lanterns, which premieres on Sunday. Also part of that lineup was Waller, which would have brought back Viola Davis as Amanda Waller. She's appeared in a variety of both DCEU, the universe before Gunn, and Safran took over. It's confusing, I know. Exactly. So confusing. And DC projects. This is one thing that A2Heroes promises not to do, which is that canon is sacrosanct and we'll never overwrite anything. Go back and start retconning shit. It's like, what are you doing? This is not professional at all. Just changing it up for convenience and making it hard for the audience to follow along. That just proves you shouldn't be in this business. Creature Commandos, good for them. Paradise Lost was another DCU TV series announced in 2023. It would have been set in Themyscira, Wonder Woman's home. This drama focuses on the genesis and political intrigue of an island of all women. Oh, that is so cool. That is so cool. Look at that. This is what I'm talking about. Put Supergirl in the mix here. Throw her in there. Let her be with her sisters. Let him flex. This is like JJK. You're getting pieced up if you see this. Nice. Now, 3 out of 5 of those originally announced TV series have been canned, though there is some possibility that Booster Gold may see the light of day yet, though writer David Jenkins is out. DC Studios is reportedly looking for a new creative team to make it. Yeah, keep looking. These cancellations come while the DCU is struggling to find its footing. Superman was well received but made just over $600 million at the box office, less than half of what Spider-Man Brand New Day has made in a matter of weeks. Yeah, I saw that. I saw Brand New Day. Didn't see Superman though. Supergirl has faltered with critics and audiences and bombed with a $126 million box office gross. Both titular characters will be seen next in 2007's Man of Tomorrow, which brings Brainiac into the fold. Okay, that's interesting. It's not bad at all. Clayface is the next DCU film to hit theaters. And it looks delightfully gross. Beyond that and the Superman sequel, DC Studios has a variety of projects in the works, like a Batman movie, not to be confused with Matt Reeves and Robert Pattinson's upcoming and separate from the DCU Batman movie, which is a century away. Yeah, thank you. Another example of them retconning and not keeping to canon. Like, that's a massive sin as a writer. Shabawaki here wrote, I'm more surprised that these were announced in the first place, given how Gunn has repeated that he won't okay anything that doesn't have a good completed script. Like, I can get my head around and not doing the tense poles first, but why was the public even aware of these series when they had apparently so little development? Thank you. You never blow your load early. You never let people know exactly what you're doing way ahead of when you're going to do it. Like, keep it a secret, keep it a mystery. Plan in the shadows and succeed in the light. Trevor replied, because Gunn can't contain himself. He has to reveal anything and everything that comes into his head. That's why it's always empty. Literally, because he can't contain himself. He has to reveal anything and everything that comes into his head. This guy makes more money than you. All right, this guy makes more money than you, makes more money than me, to just completely destroy common cultural art. Ridiculous. Yo Vargas says, because he was lying would be my guess, or he thought it was true at the time, but higher ups forced that to change. Yeah, Yo Vargas, maybe because he's lying. I agree. Someone says, dang, Lick the Star 13 says, dang, God love a Booster Gold TV series. I'll keep my fingers crossed loosely on that one. But Death of the Audience replied, same, but you know it wouldn't do well, especially if it was heavily critical of capitalism, which it should be. Nice, I like that. Critical of capitalism, let's go. Someone else replied here, Superman was well received but made just over 600 million at the box office. Less than half of what Spider-Man Brand New Day has made in a matter of weeks. Yo Vargas says, that really should have said in a matter of days. Maybe 2 days, I think. Ooh, that's rough. That's rough. Eves replies, saying, given that it made almost 1 billion opening weekend worldwide, it's likely it surpassed Superman early on Saturday, if not on Friday night. Yep. Oh, yeah, literally surpassed Superman on Friday. On Saturday, if not Friday night. I saw it on Friday night. I saw it like the day right after it came out. It was really good. I loved it. It was very nice. And I'm tired of Spider-Man movies. Spider-Man is my favorite superhero, so I love seeing him in everything. I've watched almost everything he's in. So I'm happy that they could give a fresh take on the character. And I love the villain. I love the antagonist. So cool. So cool. That was a super scary power. Kevin goes on, he says, this rumor bait is merely inflating concern over projects that are merely stuck in development hell, which typically happens in the planning stages. And I'll talk about that Blade reboot that Marvel was working on. Thank you. Okay, that's a good point. He came back with a clapback. Kevin came back with the clapback. Let's talk about that Blade movie that Marvel was supposedly working on. They've been working on that movie for years. For years. King Arthur will come back before that movie sees light. All right, guys, that was it for Polygon. Let's go into the next article here on Yahoo. By Faye Watson. Supergirl faces generative AI backlash as deleted video seems to show use in pre-production on the DC movie. All right, Faye. Let's see. She says, Supergirl has come under fire after a new video appears to show the filmmakers using generative AI during pre-production on the DC Studios movie. In a behind-the-scenes featurette, director Craig Gillespie can be seen looking at a screen with images of Lobo's design on it. However, instead of being traditional concept art, many commenters have suggested these images seem to be generative AI. These allegations have been shared widely across social media too, with viewers pointing out the distinctive blurry look that computer-generated images have. Following the backlash, Warner Bros. Removed the video from YouTube. It's not currently clear whether the featurette will also be taken off the digital release of the superhero movie too. Games Radar Plus has reached out to Warner Bros. For comment on whether the imagery was AI generated and why the video was removed. Thank you, Games Radar. Let's go. Games Radar pursuing the truth. Supergirl underperformed at the box office when it was released earlier this year, making less than Joker 2 and Morbius. Yeesh. They made less than Morbius? Oh no. It also landed to some pretty mixed reviews, earning just a 52% on Rotten Tomatoes. Yeah. Games Radar Plus gave the movie a 3.5 stars, writing in our Supergirl review that it's Superman's messier younger cousin in every way. One reviewer added, Supergirl earns its Guardians of the Galaxy and Mad Max comparisons with a surprisingly dark and sometimes downright gross space adventure about revenge and finding your home. Yeah, exactly. Take my idea of her finding her home instead. She's trying to find her home. She's lost in outer space. She has no friends or peers. You have to solve these stories by giving them friends and peers early and then putting them on a mission to find their home. Because then that either separates them from their old peers or reunites them with their new peers. Have her land in Themyscira. Have Superman land in Atlantis. And have them both grow up in those worlds for the first years of their life before they meet here on Earth. Have that be the way that it happens. Have the Atlanteans raise Supergirl and challenge her and improve her and educate her and nurture her and grow her. And she learns their ways. She learns to fight. She can fight with weapons and stuff like that. So she doesn't fight exactly like Superman. Come on. Have Superman fight with the Atlanteans and train with them and spar with them and learn from them and grow with them so he can protect the Earth better and actually like support the nature and the coral reefs and like the environment and things like that. Like Superman should have a big environmental edge to him because he's Superman. He's about Earth and life and love for sure. And he's friends with Aquaman. It would be natural. It would be a natural alliance. So yeah, Games Reader Plus is right. They gave the movie a 3.5 stars. I would have given it a 2.5, if not a 1.5. But I'll just give it a thumbs down. The article continues. Despite her mixed arrival, Kara Zor-El will be returning in the upcoming Superman sequel, Man of Tomorrow, which is due out next year. Before that, next up in DCU is Lanterns, which starts airing on HBO Max on Sunday, August 15th. Oh no, not today. Not today. I hope they meant August 16th there. But I'm so appalled by this. So appalled by this. Let's check out some of the comments. PMD said, the movie would be much better if they used AI to write, direct, and animate the entire movie. I just saw it, and Supergirl looks like the older brother in Hanson. Oh no, they should have played MMM Bop in the music score. That's rough. That's rough. Rogues replied, you actually paid to stream Supergirl instead of waiting until it comes out for the free on HBO Max? Ouch. Stupidly Rules Web replies, come on, Hansons were prettier. Oh no. Oh no, people are dragging her online. They are dragging her online. Colin Robinson EDV replies, bravo sir, spot on. Oh lord. Everyone just that was tragic. Yeah, someone said the AI write this article because August 15th is Saturday, not Sunday. Rogue says it was storyboarded and it's fairly common for graphic artists to use AI for things like comps or in this case storyboards before going into the design and production work. Okay, if you say so. If you say so. I may not be too mad at that. I may not be too mad at that. You're just a Hollywood studio. Like, you have millions and millions of dollars. There's no limit that is too far for you. So I'm wondering why you're stooping down to the tools that small companies and individual citizens use. Like, there's absolutely no reason. You think if I could hire a professional Leonardo da Vinci artist that I would use AI? Are you dumb? Of course not. Of course not. The victim of USA misogyny, not unlike the Girl Ghostbuster movie, which was a decent movie. The Girl Ghostbuster movie was not a decent movie. I'm sorry. I really would have liked it to be, but unfortunately it wasn't. It was unfortunate. You Wish says, no one saw the movie, so I doubt anyone really cares. It's the tragic thing about this. No one saw this movie, so no one really cared. They lost money. Alright. That was crazy. Can't even believe it. This is another one from Yahoo. I'll skip this one. Let's talk about David Zaslav. We might do that on the next video. But that was a phenomenal set of articles just covering Supergirl and the massive problems it ran into in production. Guys, check out the link below. Join the mailing list, and welcome to A2Heroes.